Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the start of another school week. Thank you so much indeed for all of your contributions for this week's collective worship. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to carry on this week thinking about our big question for this half term, and that is, how should I live my life? And I'm going to start with a short reading from Proverbs. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. As the world has slowly stopped, it feels to me as though the water has become still and that we can see our faces or who we are more clearly. It's also given us time to think about what's in our heart and how our actions can reflect that. So how do we want to live our lives? And I've had lots and lots of amazing suggestions from you. Some of you have said that you want to be kind, you want to be patient, you want to be caring and hopeful, that you want to look after each other and our environment, that you want to be loyal and that you want to be trusting, and that you want to have faith, and that to you having faith means having hope, believing that something can happen, and that when life gets hard, you can come over trickiness by having faith. And I think that all ties in really nicely with our Charis values at school, our curiosity and achievement and respect and inspiration and support, because all of that sits within that sort of sense of love, and love being at the heart of all that we do. There have been an awful lot of stories in the media over the last week or so that really exemplify how love shines through even in the most difficult of times. There's been lots about the amazing Captain Tom Moore, the World War II veteran who's, I'm sure you know, managed to run 100 laps of his garden in celebration of his 100th birthday on Thursday, and has now raised, I think, is it 26 million pounds for the NHS, and how that then inspired Michael Ball to come along and do a recording with Tom and the NHS choir. And I think the expectation is that recording will go to number one on this week to raise even more money. We've had other high profile people, Lady Gaga organising the All-Star concert over the weekend, the Thursday evening applause to thank the NHS workers, and the rainbows that are adorning windows wherever you go. And I know lots of you have put pictures of your rainbows onto Dojo, and it's lovely to see. Hotels are offering free accommodation to key workers and to people who are sleeping rough on the streets of our cities. And interestingly enough, polls show that people are feeling more connected to their families and to their neighbours and their communities than they have done for a long time, despite the fact that we are all socially distancing from one another. So what do we want to take from the current situation to enable us to see the reflection in the water that we want to see, to enable our actions to show what is truly in our hearts? And again, you've come back to me with some wonderful suggestions and hopes for the future. I think the biggest one that shone through was wanting to spend more time with your family, and I know from my point of view that's something that I definitely want to work hard at when life returns to normal. Also, to continue to look after our wildlife, to spend more time in nature, to connect with our environment, perhaps a little bit more than we've allowed ourselves to do in the past. To have more time to improve our physical health, having time to exercise. I'm actually beginning to quite enjoy Joe Wicks in the morning. And I know that last week I was talking with some of the other teachers at school about changing the way that our school day runs, so that when we do all get back to school, PE becomes one of the first things that we do in the morning, and that we turn the day day around a little bit, because I think all of us now that are doing Joe Wicks or Cosmic Yoga or something else in the morning are saying that it's actually making us feel much better and more prepared for the rest of the day. Improved physical health as well obviously means improved mental health, and again I've been talking with some of your teachers about flipping the day and doing a little bit more PSHE, art, music, those activities that make us feel good first thing in the morning to prepare ourselves for perhaps some of the trickier learning that comes later on in the day. I think also as well, lots of you have talked about wanting to be able to enjoy the moment rather than worrying about the future. There's nothing we can do about what happens tomorrow, next week, next year. So let's just enjoy the here and now. And let's enjoy time just being rather than doing, making time for stillness and reflection. So here's my challenge for you this week. I'd like you to come up with a pledge or a promise to yourself. What are you going to change? How are you going to achieve it to ensure that the face reflecting back from the water and the actions that you take truly reflect what's in your heart? How are you going to be a courageous advocate for yourself, for those around you and the wider world? I'm going to pop a template on Dojo and Google Classroom, and it would be amazing if you could all have a go at completing it and returning it to me before next weekend, so that we can start to build up a bank of Federation pledges. This is what it looks like. So it's, I don't know if you can see that in there. My promise to myself is, and I will achieve this by. And in the middle there's a literary quote which says, "It's no use to go back to yesterday because I was a different person then." And that's by Lewis Carroll. You might see one or two other literary quotes flying around the Federation this week. We'll see. So if you're able to do that between now and next weekend, that would be amazing. Anyway, I'm just going to close with a very short prayer. If you'd like to make it your prayer, then please join me as I say Amen at the end. God of love and hope, you made the world and care for all creation. But the world feels strange right now. The news is full of stories about coronavirus. Some people are worried that they might get ill. Others are anxious for their family and friends. Be with them and help them to find peace. We pray for the doctors and nurses and scientists and all who are working to discover the right medicines to help those who are ill. Thank you that even in these anxious times, you are here with us. Help us to put our trust in you and keep us safe. Amen. Have a super week. Work hard, stay safe, and make sure that your actions reflect what's truly in your heart. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.